What if the reason you're feeling lost, unfocused, or constantly exhausted isn't because you're doing too much, but because you're doing it without purpose? Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, believed that purpose wasn't a luxury, it was a necessity for a meaningful life. In this video, you'll discover how living with purpose can transform your discipline, your mindset, and your peace of mind, starting today. So if you've ever wondered, what am I really here to do? This is the video you've been needing. Let's begin. Number 1. Why living without purpose leaves us lost. Have you ever woken up, stared at the ceiling, and wondered, why am I even doing this? That quiet emptiness, the sense that you're just going through the motions, it's more common than most people admit. And that's what happens when we live without purpose. We drift, we react, we survive, but we don't live. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history, began each morning by asking himself a simple yet life-changing question. What am I here to do today? Not what do I want, or what do I feel like doing, but what am I meant to do as a father, a citizen, a human being? That question grounded him. It gave his life structure in the midst of war, politics, and personal pain. In this video, we'll explore how discovering your purpose, your personal compass, can radically change the way you wake up, work, and move through life. You'll learn why Stoic philosophy doesn't just inspire, it equips. It gives you tools to stay centered, focused, and fulfilled, even when life feels chaotic. If you've ever felt stuck, lost, or like something's missing, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you won't just understand what purpose is, you'll know how to find it, live it, and protect it. And it all starts right now. Number 2. What purpose really means in Stoic philosophy. When we hear the word purpose, most people think of a career goal, a lifelong dream, or some grand passion that lights a fire in your soul. But to the Stoics, and to Marcus Aurelius in particular, purpose wasn't some far-off destination. It was something much more grounded and far more powerful. In Stoic philosophy, purpose means living in alignment with nature. Not trees and rivers, though those matter, but human nature. It means recognizing that you're not just a random observer in this world. You're part of something bigger. You have a role to play, a duty to fulfill, and values to embody. For Marcus, that meant ruling with wisdom, courage, and justice. But he didn't just reserve that for major decisions. He saw purpose in how he treated others, how he handled setbacks, even in how he spoke to himself when no one was listening. Purpose was a standard, a guide, a daily reminder of who he was, striving to become. And that's what Stoicism invites us to do, to stop chasing external definitions of success, and instead, turn inward. Ask, what kind of person am I meant to be? What virtues do I want to live out? And how can I act today in a way that reflects those values? Because when purpose becomes your compass, you stop drifting. You start leading yourself first, and then everything else. Number 3. Why living with purpose builds discipline, focus, and inner peace. There's a reason why people who have a clear sense of purpose seem more grounded, more focused, more at peace. It's not because their lives are easier, it's because they know where they're going, and that clarity simplifies everything. When you live with purpose, you no longer wake up wondering what to do or why it matters. You don't chase every distraction or react emotionally to every obstacle. You have a deeper why, a reason that anchors you through the noise, the stress, and the chaos. Purpose gives discipline a reason to exist. Without it, discipline feels like punishment. But when you're acting in service of something meaningful, discipline becomes devotion. It's no longer about forcing yourself to do hard things. It's about choosing them because they bring you closer to who you want to become. It also sharpens your focus. You stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. You say no more easily. You don't need to impress anyone or prove anything because you're aligned with something greater than ego. You're living from the inside out. And with that, alignment comes peace. Not the absence of problems, but a kind of inner calm that stays with you, even when life gets messy. Marcus Aurelius didn't find peace by avoiding hardship. He found it by staying true to his purpose within it. And that's what you can build too, not through perfection, but through clarity, intention, and action. Number 4. How Marcus Aurelius lived with purpose. Even as an emperor, it's easy to assume that a man like Marcus Aurelius, an emperor, a commander, a ruler of millions, had no choice but to live with purpose. But the truth is, his position made it harder, not easier. He had power, pressure, and distractions on a scale most of us can't imagine. He was surrounded by politics, flattery, betrayal, and constant crisis. And yet, through it all, he held tightly to his sense of purpose, not as a ruler but as a human being. Marcus didn't define himself by his title. He didn't chase fame, fortune, or popularity. He saw leadership as service. Every day he asked himself, "What does duty require of me?" Not just in court decisions or public affairs, but in how he spoke to others, how he handled frustration, how he responded to suffering. He journaled, not to entertain, but to stay honest. He reminded himself daily to act with justice, self-control, courage, and wisdom. When people praised him, he stayed humble. When they criticized him, he stayed calm. Why? Because his purpose wasn't to please the crowd. It was to live with integrity. That's the Stoic way. Your purpose isn't limited to what you do for a living. It's how you choose to show up in every role you play. As a parent, a friend, a neighbor, a citizen. If an emperor under constant pressure could live each day with intention, so can we. And it starts by asking the same question Marcus asked himself. What does my role in life call me to do today? Number 5. The difference between living by values and living by impulse. Most people don't realize they're living by impulse until things start falling apart. One day it's a missed workout, the next it's a heated argument, and before you know it, your days are ruled by mood swings, distractions, and short-term fixes. You react more than you act, and that's exactly what the Stoics warned against. Marcus Aurelius believed there were two paths in life, living by values or living by emotion. One leads to clarity, the other leads to chaos. When you live by values, you have a steady foundation. You're guided by principles like honesty, patience, discipline, and kindness, even when they're hard to follow. You don't let your emotions hijack your behavior. You pause, reflect, and respond from a deeper place. But when you live by impulse, every moment is a gamble. You let frustration decide your tone. You let cravings shape your choices. You chase quick relief instead of long-term meaning, and over time, that erodes your self-respect. Stoicism doesn't teach us to suppress emotion. It teaches us to master it. It asks us to hold our feelings in one hand and our values in the other, and choose from a place of strength, not weakness. Purpose gives you that strength. It helps you remember who you are, even when the moment tries to make you forget. Because in the end, your impulses may pass, but your values are what remain. And the more you live by them, the more peace you'll find. Not just in what you do, but in who you're becoming. Number 6. How to discover your purpose. Stoic questions that guide you. Discovering your purpose isn't about having a grand revelation. It's about asking better questions, consistently and honestly. Marcus Aurelius never claimed to have all the answers. What made him wise was his willingness to reflect, daily, quietly, fearlessly. In Stoicism, your purpose isn't something you chase. It's something you uncover by peeling back what doesn't matter. That starts with questions. Not shallow ones like, what do I want? Or, what makes me happy? But deeper, more revealing ones. What am I naturally drawn to? What kind of challenges give me energy instead of draining me? When do I feel most aligned, like, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be? What values do I admire in others and want to develop in myself? Your purpose lives in the answers to those questions, not in job titles, not in applause, but in the quiet intersections of your passions, virtues, and contributions. For Marcus, his role as emperor was not his purpose. It was the arena where he practiced it. His true calling was to live with wisdom and justice no matter the circumstances. And that calling shaped every choice he made. Your own purpose may not be loud or flashy. It might be to lead your family with love, to serve your community, or to create beauty in a world that needs it. The key is to listen, not to the noise around you, but to the pull within you. Your purpose is already whispering. The Stoic path helps you hear it. Number 7. The morning habit that aligns you with purpose. The Stoics believe that the way you begin your day determines how you live your life. And Marcus Aurelius made it a practice to start each morning not with urgency or distraction, but with reflection. Before the world could rush in with its noise, demands, and temptations, he took a moment to ask himself, what is my duty today? What kind of person do I want to be? How will I respond to challenges, with patience or with irritation? This wasn't just journaling, it was alignment. He was calibrating his mind like a compass, pointing it toward purpose before anything else could interfere. You don't need an hour-long ritual or a mountaintop retreat to do the same. Just 5 minutes of intention in the morning can rewire how you approach your day. It could be a question, a written note to yourself, or a silent affirmation. Because when you begin your day with purpose, you move differently. You respond instead of react. You focus on what matters instead of getting lost in the trivial. You make decisions that reflect who you want to become, not just what you feel in the moment. In a world that encourages us to wake up and immediately scroll, compare, or rush, choosing to pause, reflect, and direct your energy inward is a radical act. And it just might be the one thing that sets your entire day and your entire life on the right course. Number 8. the evening habit that keeps you aligned. If the morning is for setting direction, then the evening is for checking the map. That's how Marcus Aurelius saw it. Before sleep, he would pause and reflect, not to judge himself harshly, but to review his day with honesty and humility. This nightly practice wasn't about guilt, it was about growth. He would ask, did I act with courage today? Did I stay calm in the face of irritation? Did I speak truthfully? Was I generous? Where did I fall short, and why? Stoicism teaches that we are not finished products. We are works in progress. And progress only happens when we're willing to look at ourselves clearly, without flinching. Not to punish ourselves, but to prepare ourselves, to live a little better tomorrow than we did today. You don't need a leathered journal or a list of 10 goals. All you need is a quiet moment, a willingness to turn inward, and the courage to be honest about your wins and your stumbles. This habit builds self-awareness. It builds integrity. And most of all, it builds momentum, because small adjustments made consistently are what shape character over time. When you end your day with purpose, you sleep differently. You're not haunted by regrets or racing thoughts. You've already faced yourself, and that gives you peace. And tomorrow, when you rise again, your purpose will be waiting right where you left it. Number 9. The common trap, chasing achievement over purpose. It's easy to confuse purpose with achievement. Society teaches us that the more you accomplish, the more valuable you are. Promotions, accolades, income, status, these become the metrics of a successful life. But Marcus Aurelius saw through that illusion. He wrote, "Ambition means tying your well-being to what other people say or do. Self-indulgence means tying it to the things that happen to you. Sanity means tying it to your own actions." In other words, if your sense of worth depends on what you achieve or how others respond to it, you're always vulnerable. You're building your identity on shifting ground. Achievement is not the problem. The problem is when it becomes the goal instead of the outcome. Purpose is about how you do things, why you do them, and who you become in the process, not just what you get from it. You can win awards and still feel empty. You can make money and still feel lost. But when you're living on purpose, even the smallest task carries meaning. You don't need the world's approval, because you're already aligned with your values. That's why Stoicism asks us to pursue virtue over validation. It invites us to trade the chase for something quieter, but far more powerful, a life of integrity. Because purpose doesn't shout, it doesn't flash, it endures. And when you build your life around it, you're no longer chasing, you're leading, starting from within. Number 10. Living with purpose. One day at a time. Living with purpose isn't something you check off a list. It's not a one-time discovery or a dramatic life change. It's a daily decision, a quiet commitment you make again and again to live intentionally, not impulsively. To show up as the person you believe you're meant to be, even when it's hard. Marcus Aurelius understood this better than most. He didn't write to impress future generations. He wrote to remind himself, to stay centered, to stay honest, to stay on course. His purpose wasn't carved into stone. It was practiced in small choices, how he listened, how he led, how he endured. And so it is with us. You don't need a title or a perfect plan. You just need a compass. And that compass is your purpose. Align with it in the morning. Reflect on it in the evening. Let it shape your words, your work, your relationships. And when you stray, because we all do, don't abandon the path. Return to it. One step, one decision, one moment at a time. Because that's the Stoic life. Not loud, not flashy, but deeply rooted, steady, clear, purposeful. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I am rising to do the work of a human being. Marcus Aurelius, let that be your reminder. Every day is a new chance to live on purpose. Purpose isn't something you find once. It's something you choose every day. And when you align your actions with your values, you stop chasing fulfillment and start living it. The lesson is simple. Live with intention, lead with virtue, and don't let another day go by without knowing why you're here. If this message resonated with you, don't just move on. Reflect, take action, and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom that speaks to real life. Leave a comment and share. What's one value you want to live by today? Until next time,